What if circumstances magnified one of them in size and strength?
And the Polish pipe bomb, Jeff Orlowski.
How's the headbanging coming?
Welcome to Wisconsin Sports Sunday.
Somebody had their headphones on. Welcome in for Wisconsin Sports Sunday. Don Wachillis, along with the Professor Dan Underberg, the Polish pipe bomb, Jeff Orlowski on the ones and twos as we make our way through the next 2 hours. But before we start anything, happy Mother's Day to everybody. Happy Mother's Day to all of those who may be listening because you chose to, or you're forced to because you're trapped in the car and your husband decided to put on Sport Talk Radio. But happy Mother's Day to everyone. As we all know, the rock stars in any family situation are the mothers, and you get a day today to celebrate. So as we make our way through the next 2 hours, we're going to talk Packers. We'll get into what's trending. Chuck Garbedian's going to join us at around 10:20 as we preview the upcoming PGA Championship. And then in the next hour, we'll get into the Admirals, who have a Game 5, a deciding Game 5 today in their playoff series with Chicago. We'll talk about that. Dave Gasper will join us to talk about the Brewers. Might need to do a little venting during that segment after what's happened the last couple of days with our Brew Crew. And then we'll close things off as we always do with the Book of Pipe Bomb. Before we get started, our thanks to Sewer Ninjas, dedicated to solving your home sewer issues with the latest no-dig sewer repair technology to minimize cost and disruption. They can repair your sewer lateral line with minimal intrusion, saving you thousands. When you need help, turn to the drain and sewer experts for Milwaukee and the surrounding communities. You can find out more at sewerninjas.com. Our thanks to Waterstone Bank as well, established in 1921, offering a full suite of personal and business banking products. Come for the outstanding customer service, stay for everything else. Bank easier at Waterstone Bank. See everything they have to offer at WSBonline.com. So let's kick things off, guys, talking about the NFL. And the crazy thing, Professor, about the NFL always is they are the leader when it comes to staying relevant as far as professional sports go. Because we look at the fact that we spent how much time last month, how much energy, finances, the whole 9 yards go into watching guys get their name called, walk across the stage, get a bro hug from the commissioner, get a quick interview, and then off they go. But myself included, we're locked in. We watch. We want to see who's getting picked. And there's nothing. When you break down the entertainment value, there is none. It's the guy who walks across the stage, gets a bro hug, gets a hat, gets an interview, and then off they go. Now we got through the draft. Here comes the schedule. And the schedule will, for many, be must-see TV on Wednesday. The only issue I have is the NFL makes such a big deal about we're going to have the big reveal Wednesday night, NFL Network, 2-hour show, this, that, and the other thing. And then they start as the day goes on to release this game, that game. And then you get everybody who starts plugging those games in and figuring out where potentially the schedule falls. By the time you get to the actual reveal, pretty much everybody has figured out what the schedule is. So it becomes anticlimactic for a 2-hour program on the NFL Network.
Yeah, it's not exactly the Oscars, is it? When you're just,
the Oscars.
when you're waiting on bated breath to find out who the best, best art design of the film is going to be. Okay, we already know who they're playing, right? We know what the teams are on the docket. It's just kind of the order. The interest for me in any of those things is when is the gauntlet of the schedule, right? One of those 4 or 5 games that every team has where you think to yourself, okay, this one might be a rough one. Either it's away or they've got what have been in the previous year a really, really good team. Or I could just wait to hear it the next day or get the pocket schedule out.
Well, pocket schedule. Wow. That's dating yourself there. Stick it in the wallet. It's like Costanza over here. He's got vertebrae slipping out of place with everything he's got put in the backside with his wallet. And Jeff, the thing that the thing that will happen on Wednesday, what will carry forth throughout the United States is everybody will sit down, maybe except Cleveland, and go through their schedule and go, yep, there we go, 14-3.
Yep.
But you know what? There's always that game. So I'm just going to say 13-4. Yeah, we're 13-4. But that's the beauty of the NFL because of the draft and because of the way the scheduling is laid out, with the exception, again, maybe of Cleveland. Every team goes in with optimism to the upcoming season, thinking that they got a shot.
Yeah, every team definitely goes in with optimism, even Jacksonville and Cleveland, and pick whatever other crappy team, the Jets.
Yeah.
You know, so, but anybody, you know, obviously you do you. You know, I watch and have my entire life so many wasted hours of the draft. I guess I think I can say that now that it's over and it's not in Green Bay anymore. You know, the 3-day reading of names, like really, you could save yourself 47 hours and just pick up the paper on Monday. But anybody, in my humble opinion, that watches this schedule thing, just slap yourself. You know, maybe try collecting stamps or, you know, something that'll bring joy to your life. Because if this makes a difference, yeah, I'm sorry.
It's crazy though, right? Because
Yes.
all of a sudden you'll get those lead-ins, because I think one of the first ones is on the Today Show, where they'll announce one of the big games that will be on Sunday Night Football. And as soon as the announcements begin, that's when suddenly you get, again, people plugging in the different spots and trying to figure out, because so on Monday, there'll be an announcement on the Today Show for one of the, I don't know if it's all of the Sunday night games or just one, but there you go. We'll have that released. Fox will put something out. Prime Video will put something out. Tuesday, ESPN, Wednesday, CBS, and Netflix. So they all start releasing what the schedule is before you get to this primetime event. Like, as good as the NFL is with so many things as far as marketing, PR, go right down the line, this one, to me, they stumble on, but yet, look, we're talking about it.
I'm just kind of wishing you're just saying that then all these scheduled leaks are coming out through the course of the week. I kind of feel like with the history of the Thursday night games, that on Thursday, the NFL should just issue a blanket apology. We're so sorry that we have put these games in front of you.
Yeah.
But they had to go somewhere, and somebody said we had to actually telecast these games. I'm with Pipe Bomb in this, and it's not going to impact me one way or the other. I will wait to find out what the schedule is.
Mm-hmm.
And all right, fine, my magnet that's going to go on the fridge, or any one of those other things that you'll get for free. And then, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And then there's still going to be games I can't watch because of 1,000 different reasons. It's the schedule. Mike Heller was talking about the other day about the idea of strength of schedule in the NFL, and his position was it's a ridiculous argument that there is strength of schedule because you just don't know, and they're all difficult games and things like that. If you really want me to really kind of get into the schedule, I'll pay attention to every game. This isn't the NBA, but I will pay attention to every game, but I'll pay attention to the schedule about right about the time the Packers are 3-4 or 4-4.
Yeah.
Then I'll start getting nervous.
But Jeff, the only way in my mind the schedule has any relevance if you've got some discretionary funds and you're getting ready to travel.
Mm-hmm.
Like you've earmarked that we're going to pick a game this year. We're going to get on the road, and this way you've got to jump at your hotel, your airline, whatever the case may be. But to Dan's point, and something that you've talked about kind of, I don't want to say extensively, but talked about before, is the fact that because of the way training camp is, because of the way preseason football is these days, what happens the first month? It's not really that good as far as the product goes, because it's like watching preseason with the starters. So to Dan's point, once you get 4, 5, 6 games in, that's when the schedule becomes relevant, because you kind of get an idea of the path the team that you're supporting, in our case, the Packers, how it's going to go. And then you're also going to see how others are progressing at that point of the season, because early on, again, it's a mess. It really has become a mess at the way coaches, general managers, and teams have handled preseason football now.
100% agree. You know, you sit there and, you know, it's just another way, I think, for I don't know if it's because of the NFL, but it's another way that Packer fans get kicked in the nether regions here. Because basically, if the weather's good outside and you want to be at Lambeau, it's going to be early in the season and crappy football. And then by the time they start playing good is the time that you got 48 layers on and you're in absolute misery. So I guess tis the life we have chosen.
Yes.
But just anytime the weather's nice, it's sloppy mess because of the way that they refuse to make these guys practice in training camp.
And the idea, Dan, I mean, I get it. You don't want your stars going by the wayside in training camp, but yet what's happening the first couple of weeks, the stars are kind of going by the wayside because injuries, unfortunately, are a part of the game,
Right.
and don't want to be casual about it whatsoever, but they're going to happen. It's an unfortunate happenstance of the game of football, the game of basketball, the game of baseball. Any professional athletic endeavor has them. And so you want to protect to a degree, but sometimes I think the overprotection creates a whole different avenue as far as injuries and things of that nature once the regular season gets started.
Yeah, and I'll just jump on top of that one. If I could find some stats out there, number of missed tackles since the last CBA. Okay, and I mean,
Go.
we've seen the degradation of defense.
Please hire Professor Dan Underberg to do that study, the NFLPA. So we, Pipe Bomb and I will do the research while Dan compiles all the data
I'll get
for
my undergrad student work.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's but I mean, I don't need to do the research. I watch football. Okay, you can just watch that enough, and the teams that usually end up in the Super Bowls, my argument are the teams that can tackle, particularly in the secondary, which is one of the reasons why we haven't seen the Packers in a Super Bowl for quite some time. So yeah, this idea of what has been done and what has been argued to be too much or too taxing over the course of not only just of preseason, but leading up, but the camp, all the different OTAs, all these different things. Well, we can't do too much. Well, then there are moments where like, this is football.
To your point with the tackling, that's why I think we're seeing a resurgence in the running game, because you've got lighter, faster guys in the secondary now that are coming up and have to fill once the running back gets to the second level. They don't have the ability. They just don't.
Or the will.
That too.
They don't. I am exhausted by seeing shoulder tackles, air quotes. Okay. Or if I can bump this guy, bump him out of bounds, something like that. And then you see a guy like Josh Jacobs, like, thanks, but no thanks.
Yeah.
And he'll just keep rumbling down the field. Now that works for us, but there are a lot of good running backs out there. There are a lot of running backs that we don't talk about that have that same ability. Once they get in the open field, they can decide if they want to run around you or run over you. And it feels like the secondaries don't want to have a piece of that.
Well, and it's the idea that this whole thing has come full circle, right? Because we were drafting faster, bigger, and what I mean by bigger is essentially taller cornerbacks to cover these receivers, to be able to go downfield, because that's the way the offense was set up. And now, because of it, offensive coordinators are reversing course, so to speak, and going back to the running game a little bit.
Can you imagine just going back in the way back machine, the way back
machine?
Hypothetically, what Earl Campbell would have done in today's NFL. He'd probably still be running, because why not?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And talk about setting records. Earl Campbell didn't run any more than he could because his body broke down. Okay. But if you talk about what he could do today to the secondaries in the NFL, it would just be brutal.
Go back
Christian
and
McCoy is another one.
Absolutely. Go back and pull those guys up on YouTube. You'll get an idea of what the professor's talking about, because they were running over
Eric
people
Dickerson
in the way back machine, as he just said, and then put it in today's game. It would be something else. Before we go to a break, because we're going to give plenty of time. We have the most spectacular outro song to celebrate Mother's Day in the history of outro music as far as Mother's Day goes, and we're playing it every single segment. I just love it so much. Anyhow, before we get to that, are you glad that we're not dealing with Aaron Rodgers anymore? It's amazing to me, because I'm in the midst of his biography, And in what am I on, chapter 8 or whatever it is, but it's kind of talking about the Aaron Rodgers Favre scenario, where Favre was, I'm retiring, I'm not going to retire, here I am, I'm back at family night, you're not letting me in, the whole song and dance. And it's weird to me that, though not with the Packers, we're seeing like the same scenario play out with Aaron Rodgers, only this time with Pittsburgh. Is he coming? Is he not coming? I think Pittsburgh really made its draft choices based on the fact they feel like he's coming. And he could announce tomorrow that, yes, I'm going to sign with the Pittsburgh Steelers. But to watch a team like Pittsburgh, something that has been cemented in NFL lore, much like Green Bay, have to go through this because of the way their quarterback room looks right now. It's amazing to me that a team like a Mike Tomlin-led team is allowing this song and dance to continue in such a fashion.
Yeah, that's the thing that gets me, that this is very un-Pittsburgh, that they would allow this to happen. I'm surprised Pittsburgh hasn't moved forward, which may be an indicator of just how concerned they are about their quarterback room.
You have to be. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, going back to your initial question, do I miss it? Oh, hell no. Okay. That has it. We have gone through that twice. I don't need to go through it again. But Aaron Rodgers might be a great Bond villain because of the way he manipulates, and he's just kind of off in the distance. You don't realize it's him until about a third into the movie, and then you realize he's pulling all the strings and all that. Because I still agree, he's a smart guy, and you just get the feeling he's sitting back there. Now I'm just going to wait to get done with the first couple sets of OTAs, then you realize.
Why is Aaron Rodgers catching strays on Mother's Day? Come on, leave the poor guy alone. You want to talk about Pittsburgh's quarterback room? Who's the only one to blame? Freaking Pittsburgh.
Right. Yes,
absolutely.
And
absolutely.
So you get stuff like we saw Carr retire, which opens up the Saints again.
Yeah.
So now there's a team that was rumored for pretty much the entire time to be in the Aaron Rodgers sweepstakes, but they're back in it, and now with a hell of a lot more desperation than they were just 48 hours ago. So Aaron Rodgers is playing this smart with the fact that he hasn't signed anywhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Because of what happens in New Orleans the last day or two, that alone increased his salary by $5 to $8 million. So good on him. A-Rod, I miss you. I wish you were still here.
Come on.
So, and A-Rod, I trust. Now and always.
Just stop.
Now and always.
Look at this. When the lightning comes through, I'm glad we're over here, not over where he's sitting. Because we got to get to break, but you just look at the way Pittsburgh's quarterback room sits, and your trust right now is Mason Rudolph as QB1, the guy who got Tennessee to the first round or the first pick overall this past draft in Green Bay. Oh, goodness. Yeah. I just find it interesting that it seems like that, as we're talking about the running backs coming full circle for offensive coordinators, seeing the mess that can be a former quarterback of the Green Bay Packers finding itself right back kind of where things began years ago with number 4. All right, let's get to a break. As we go to a break, we play the greatest Mother's Day song in the history of Mother's Day as Mr. T takes us to break. On the other side, Chuck Garbedian will join us from Garbedian on Golf as we preview the PGA Championship. Coming up right after this timeout on Wisconsin Sports Sunday.
Treat her right. M is for the moan and the miserable groan from the pain that she felt when I was born. O is for the oven with its burning heat, where she stood making sure I had something to eat. T is for the time that she stayed up at night and took my temperature when I wasn't feeling right. H is for the hard-earned money she spent to keep clothes on my back and try to pay the rent.
I'm attorney Tom Grieve, here to tell you about Grieve Civil Law. There's a lot of things in life we put off for far too long. Going to the doctor or the gym or the dentist. We know we should do it, but there's always something else more urgent. Estate planning cannot be put off. Life is unexpected. Have you thought about what your family would go through if you died without a will? Probate is stressful. time-consuming, and costly. It can cause family disputes and resentment. Is that what you want your legacy to be? Don't procrastinate when it comes to your family's future. Protect them from chaos and confusion. Don't let your legacy be the mess you left them with. You probably hear a lot of ads that say, time is running out, don't wait. It's a marketing gimmick. We all know there will be another sale soon. When it comes to estate planning, time is literally running out. Plan today and have peace of mind tomorrow. Don't gamble with your life's work. Don't gamble with your family's future. GrieveCivilLaw.com, because time is running out.
This week, Skipper Bud's Boaters Tailgate Party is on. Score home run deals on new and used boats, pontoons, runabouts, and more from top brands like Sea Ray, Barletta, Mastercraft, and Starcraft. Make this summer one to remember with family fun on the water, fishing, tubing, or just cruise in style. Don't miss the Pro Shop, loaded with tubes, skis, vests, safety gear, and more. Hurry in. Skipper Bud's Tailgate Party ends this week, just off I-94 and Highway T in Pewaukee. Visit skipperbuds.com.
Warshawski's Victor Harding, Best Lawyers Product Liability Attorney of the Year, achieves maximum compensation.
Best Lawyers Complex Litigation Lawyer of the Year, Warshawski's Frank Cravello, achieves maximum injury compensation.
Injured?
It is about the money.
Warshawski.com.
Watch PGA Tour champions, including tournament host Steve Stricker, at the American Family Insurance Championship. The tournament moves to its new home at TPC Wisconsin, Friday, June 6th through Sunday, June 8th, and features a new team competition. All proceeds support the Steve Stricker American Family Insurance Foundation and the American Family Children's Hospital. Get your tickets today at amfamchampionship.com. That's amfamchampionship.com.
Have you tried hands-free Skechers slip-ins yet? Because if you haven't, you're missing out on technology that changes how you think about shoes. First, these are not just regular slip-on shoes. They're not just a pair of loafers without laces. But what makes them different is the technology inside that lets you just step into them. There's a built-in hidden shoehorn that slides your foot in, so they look, feel, and wear just like a pair of shoes you're used to. Except you don't have to bend down, struggle to put them on, or touch them. Try them at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
The Fox 6 weather experts are presented by AdventKnows.com.
Sunny skies on Sunday with temperatures in the low 60s near the lakefront to the low 70s inland. Southeast to easterly wind will be about 5 to 10 miles an hour. Will stay mostly clear tonight with temperatures dropping into the upper 40s. I'm Fox 6 meteorologist Lisa Michaels.
This report is sponsored by Rapid Radios.
Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Business owners can now keep in touch with up to 200 staff members at one time. Go to rapidradios.com now for up to 60% off and free shipping.
iHeartRadio is the easy-to-use app for music and radio. Download the free iHeartRadio app today.
All right, welcome back in. It's a Wisconsin Sports Sunday on this Mother's Day. Thank you for joining us as we go now to the NicoletLaw.com talk and text line and bring in the host of Garbedian on Golf. It's Chuck Garbedian. Chuck, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Don and Dan. It's a pleasure to be part of the Wisconsin Sports Sunday with you, gentlemen. Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day to everyone in your family as well. We appreciate you taking some time as we make our way to the PGA Championship. Chuck, with the switch now to the PGA Championship being in May, it's a foregone conclusion that we're just never going to see it back here in the state of Wisconsin, just knowing what our weather is like during this time of year.
Probably not, and that's mainly because of the build-out. They need about 90 days of build-out time to put together the PGA Championship. You remember when it was there last at Whistling Straits, they built an entire city, and so they need time to do that and in putting everything together and getting everything on property. You know, we've had some Februaries, you know, that's the 90-day back rule where, you know, you've been below zero in temperatures. It's kind of hard to build something in that and make it and have it ready to go by the time you need it ready to go. Plus, you know, we've had snow in May, so, I mean, there's a good chance that, you know, you could have a snowstorm, or as we've had at Broadlands the other day, we had a frost delay in the morning. just because it's a little too cold. It happens. It's weather. You know, the next big event for major championship golf is coming up May 29th through June 1st, as the U.S. Women's Open will be at Erin Hills, presented by Ally. So that'll be exciting for everyone in the state.
I love the way he said
No,
the
I did too,
sponsorship
yeah.
there. Yeah, because I know I was out at Erin Hills about a week ago, and they're in the process of building said city that you alluded to, and it's just quite the undertaking. Dan, jump in.
I'm just curious. The Masters was such kind of this emotional journey all the way through. That extra hole and getting there to watch Rory win that. Sorry, get that Grand Slam, that career Grand Slam. What does the PGA have to get people? What do they have to do to get people back involved in golf? Because there's a little bit of exhaustion maybe that comes with. I mean, you want to see Rory win again. You've got some great guys in the field, but there's just this element of how does the PGA Championship kind of follow up what happened in Augusta?
Well, there have only been 6 guys that have won the career Grand Slam. Rory was the 6th one. He captured the 89th Masters at Augusta National. Now, going for the 7th career Grand Slam is Jordan Spieth. He needs the PGA Championship to complete the career Grand Slam, which would be ironic that you haven't had anyone do it in a number of years, and then suddenly you have it in back-to-back majors. Spieth has been playing well. He's, it's always a thrill ride with Jordan Spieth. You never know what you're going to get, but you know you're going to get excitement. That's the one thing you're guaranteed of. It would be fascinating to see him win his career Grand Slam, just one major following Rory winning his, and then after that, there's not a lot out there, because if you look at it, Jack Nicklaus has 18 majors, Tiger has 15. Do you know who's third on the list? Take a guess at who's third on the list.
Current, or is someone now retired?
It's third on the list. It's third on the list.
Way back machine. I'm going to go Jack.
Okay. Other guess?
Dan?
Who's our favorite South African?
And I don't.
Gary Player.
Gary
Player. Yeah.
Okay, so the next person who's in double digit, there are only 3 players who are in double-digit majors. Jack Nicklaus with 18, Tiger Woods with 15, Walter Hagen with 11. After that, everybody else is single digits going down the rest of the list.
Wow.
So it's hard to win a major, and sometimes you get one. There's maybe 100+ players that have won one major, but then have never won another one. You got to think of this. Andy North has 2. He has 2 U.S. Opens, which makes him royalty in Wisconsin State Golf. You look at some of the other players. Strick doesn't have a major on the PGA Tour. He has one on the Champions Tour. So that's a different kind of category. So it's hard to do this. What the PGA Championship really espouses in terms of their promotion is the PGA Championship usually has the best field, most complete field, as they like to say, because you have to qualify to get in through the PGA. PGA of America has a separate tournament for 20 players who are PGA members who are teaching professionals to get into the field. And then after that, their golf course is usually set up the most user-friendly of all the majors. So you get to see some fireworks and you get to see some really exciting things. Quail Hollow is an exceptional venue for a PGA Championship. It's a big, brawny place. There's a lot of room to build things out. There's a lot of things for people to see when they go out there. It's a phenomenal golf course. It can be as hard as you want, depending on how hard Terry Haig, who is the director of competitions, wants to set it up. There's a lot of things going for it. It'll be an exceptional week of golf watching, especially if the weather is really good, because you'll get to see the golf course really shine, and you'll get to see some of the best players in the world play in an exceptional place in hopefully great weather, and you get everything that you're looking for. There are a lot of really interesting names in the field. Scotty Scheffler hadn't done anything. He hurt his hand in a dinner accident at his home and really didn't get things going until he won just recently. And now, he's one of the favorites going in along with Rory McIlroy. If you look at the live guys, Bryson DeChambeau always has a chance. Brooks Koepka, maybe John Rahm. It would be interesting to see what they do, because the live guys have really done nothing, because there's really no competitive edge to playing in live golf. So it could be a wide open. Usually the better the golf course, the better the conditions, harder maybe, you'll get a better leaderboard. So it'll be interesting to see going into the weekend what we'll have once we get through Thursday and Friday at Quail Hollow this coming week.
Hi, Chuck. My name's Jeff. Nice to meet you. This is a big moment for
Pleasure.
me. I listen to your show
Good.
every single week without fail. We sat there and we just got done with the Masters, and people were talking about egg salad sandwiches and all that kind of stuff that gets served down there, and their glorious prices. Pimento cheese. So what is top of the menu at Quail Hollow? If they serve quail, is that considered cannibalism?
No, that would just be considered a delicacy down there. So that's kind of nice. They don't necessarily focus on any one particular item in terms of food. There's a lot of really great food in that area. And on course, there's a lot of exceptional food. The clubhouse there and the wait staff and the sous chef and the chef who are there have been there for a long time, and they usually put together a menu that's kind of themed depending on who's playing well that day or that week or who looks good coming in. So they'll have something done for Rory McIlroy for the career Grand Slam. They'll probably have a 4-course something or other put together for him. They'll have something done for Xander Schauffele, who's the defending champion, coming in. So they'll do something for him, which will be kind of fun as well. So, it'll be a fun week. It'll be you'll be stuffed. You won't walk away empty-handed. They'll make doggy bags for you, Jeff. You'll be fine. It'll be great.
Awesome. Thank you.
We're talking with Chuck Garbedian, who hosts Garbedian on Golf. You can hear on the game each and every Saturday morning. Chuck, you kind of went through some of the top players that, will be teeing it up this week at the PGA Championship. Rory comes off the career Grand Slam, but has won, 4 or 5 events at Quail Hollow? I mean, he's really owned that course, so to speak. We look at Scotty Scheffler, as you noted, coming off the dinner injury. That's just so weird to say. But the fact that he hasn't played really well up until the last couple of weeks. So if you had to pick, let's say, 5 players for the average golf fan to really keep an eye on going into the PGA Championship, go.
Well, it would be Rory McIlroy, obviously, because he's had one of the best seasons so far. Heading into the Masters, he had wins. He'd won the Players. I mean, that's a de facto major on the PGA Tour. That's their championship. Scotty Scheffler can never be counted out simply because he's too good. He's one of the best at bogey avoidance on the PGA Tour. Justin Thomas has made adjustments with the putter and also his practice schedule, and he's played exceptionally well. If you're looking for guys that are kind of on the outside looking in, where you might not necessarily go, hey, that's my first pick. You have to look at Shane Lowry. If you watch Full Swing, which is the next Netflix special that focuses on the PGA Tour, there's an episode there that features Shane Lowry and Rory McIlroy, and you can tell how much Shane Lowry really looks up to Rory McIlroy, how much he admires him, how much he respects him. But at the same time, this is a really zero-sum game. There are times where you put a lot of work in and don't get anything out. There are times where you get a bad break when you hit a great shot. There are times where you hit a bad shot and get a great break. It's just the way that it works out. But Shane Lowry is one of those guys that has great hands, wonderful player. It's a question of keeping the demeanor intact. He could be someone that could be there. You can't exclude Xander Schauffele simply because he's the defending champion and has played exceptionally well. At the beginning of last season, Xander Schauffele had no majors. And at the end of the season, he had 2. That's how quickly it can turn in the game of golf. There are other guys in there, too, that are less known, less flashy, a Patrick Cantlay, a Keith Mitchell. Then you're looking at a guy like Daniel Berger, who's coming off a surgery. So consequently, he hasn't really been around, but he's been playing exceptionally solid golf all season long. Colin Morikawa is really good. There's a lot of guys out there. Ludwig Oberg. I mean, it would be interesting if you have all those guys kind of in the mix, and then you have Jordan Spieth in the mix as well, looking for the career Grand Slam. There's a lot of really interesting storylines to this championship in particular, and especially heading into the Open Championship and the U.S. Open at Oakmont. It's setting up to be a really stellar season, and it has been so far. It's been a lot of fun.
I'm curious, when you look at Quail Hollow, every course has its signature hole. Which one is going to be that one location where the entire tournament could change?
Well, there's a stretch on the back 9 when you go 12 through 16 that's really kind of interesting because of the way it sets up, and it depends on what the prevailing wind is and how the course architecture decides. What Kerry Hay decides to do with the course will be really fascinating to see. But you're going to see some guys that are going to have some stretches in there where you get runs where you're just trying to hold serve. You're trying not to lose any strokes to the field. And if you look at 12 through 16, that'll be a stretch where, if you can get to 16, 17, and 18 and you have a little bit of a cushion, that'll help you tremendously. But you've got to get there first to go through 12 through 16. And I think that's going to be one of the turning points, one of the more interesting features. If you have guys are going to start on 10 on the Thursday, Friday flips. If you start on 10, you get the teeth of the golf course right away in terms of 12 through 16, and after that, there's a little bit of a lull. It's not easy. It's a little easier, but it's not easy. So consequently, you're going to have to hit great shots all day long and minimize the mistakes because you're just not going to have any room for error. This course is going to be set up much more like a PGA Tour course, which is great for most guys because that's what they're used to seeing. Most of it's going to be played through the air. There's not a lot of places where you can sit there and necessarily bump it in. But if you're trying to find your game heading into a major, you're looking in the wrong place because it's really hard to do. But I expect Quail Hollow to put up a pretty good fight. I wouldn't be surprised if the winning score was somewhere in the low double digits if it was 11 under or 12 under. That's a possibility. But again, it's agronomy related and it's weather related. It depends on what the week shapes up to be.
Agronomy, that's a good word. So besides being a golf expert, Chuck, and we just we just found out about your culinary experts in the last answer here. I want to tap into your golf media expertise, if you will, if I can use French words. So during the Masters coverage, it was kind of embarrassing the way that the overall golf media was just fawning over Rory and all that and outright cheering for that little leprechaun to do his little slam thing. Did word come down from said PGA Tour, that was an embarrassment and to watch it? And if it did not, who do you think they're going to be drooling over this week? And don't say Jordan Spieth because we know he won't be on the first, 3 sheets of the leaderboard come Sunday.
Well, given your golf acumen and the experience that you have in the great game of golf, I would have to say Jordan Spieth would be the one that they're going to be drooling over because he's going for the career Grand Slam. Yeah, I mean, he's going for the career Grand Slam. That's the first and foremost story is the fact that Rory got it done and it took him forever to get it done. And now you've got Jordan Spieth and he's the next one out there. That's going to be probably the storyline early in the week on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, unless something else happens. But that's what you're going to hear about more than anything else. And it'll be, this will be Rory's first major since he's won the Masters Championship at Augusta. So that's going to be a big storyline as well as the fact that, how does he back it up? I think this opens the floodgates for Rory. I think it frees him up a little bit because he doesn't have to try to concentrate on one thing and get it done, and he's trying too hard. Golf's a really funny game because you don't play other people when you play golf. You play the golf course to the best of your ability, and whatever you put up, that's what you put up. Whatever the number is, that's the number. So it'll be interesting to see how players try to dissect Quail Hollow and how successful they are doing it. Whether the media is in it or not, it's never a conspiracy or collusion. They don't care. They're just looking for a good story. They got to fill column inches. They got to fill clicks on different websites. Todd Lewis and Rex Hoggard, who are on with me, who are friends of mine who covered for the Golf Channel, they're looking for storylines. They're looking for really good things. What you'll see in days 1 and 2 is you'll see a name or two pop up on the leaderboard, maybe on the first page, that you've never heard of or don't know or not familiar with, because that's how it happens sometimes. And then, by the time we get to the weekend, the cream will rise to the top, and it'll probably be a Jordan Rory 1-2 fest just to annoy you more than anything else.
Well, yeah, Jordan. Yeah, we can wager on that one. Okay, last
Sure,
one.
because we did so well with the Kentucky Derby. Why don't we wager on stuff? Let's do that.
Well, okay, so, last one from me, and then I'll turn you over to the journalism experts here. But we've seen Scott Scheffler get arrested and all that. Who's most likely, what player is most likely to get arrested at Quail Hollow?
Patrick Reed would be my selection.
Nice.
Just overall grumpiness, or why? What do you think the cause would be on that?
He has a different perspective. In his life, it runs perception and reality. His perception is his own reality, and consequently, that reality doesn't really match other people's. He does certain things that rub people the wrong way, and then doubles down on it when he does it. So, it's just an opportunity for him to just, really just turn the cards over and go, here's my hand. And you go, okay, that's great. Thanks for being here.
Chuck, let's jump off the PGA Championship just for a quick second here, because as you noted before, we've get the Women's U.S. Open at Erin Hills.
Yep.
And then a couple of weeks after, we get the Senior Tour in Madison at a brand new course in Wisconsin TPC, with the whole connection there with Stricker. what has that move been like up in Madison? Because from all accounts, the new course that Wisconsin TPC is quite special.
Well, it is. They put a lot of money in it. Dennis Tiziani is one of the founding members of TPC Wisconsin. They've done a lot of things to it, and what they've done is also tweak the schedule a little bit so that it's a different format. You'll see a scramble format. You'll see a best ball format in there. And that's to make the golf course a little bit more user-friendly just because it's kind of new and they're breaking it in a little bit. You don't really get to see, when you do a redo on a golf course, you don't really get to see what happens on the golf course until you actually get competition on it and you kind of see it in its actual working mode. You know, you have thoughts of what it's going to be. It was the same thing that happened with AmFam when AmFam went to U-Ridge. U-Ridge hadn't been used for a professional tour event, especially a Champions Tour event. When the PGA Tour comes to town, it's the circus. They come rolling in, there's bands, there's confetti, there's all kinds of noise and hoopla, and it's great. And then they come in and use the golf course, and you get to kind of see how the flow of competition works, how you get people around the ingress and egress. There's a lot of other factors that go into it. Nate Pokrass, who's the tournament director of the AmFam Championship, and his staff do a great job in putting things together. It's exciting because it's almost a refresh and a redo because they have the same event, but they're going to have it at a different venue. The PGA Tour champions are really good at taking care of those kind of obstacles or anything constraints that kind of come up. They take care of things really, really well. And you're really fortunate to have someone like American Family involved with the event. You're really fortunate to have Steve Stricker and Jerry Kelly involved with the event. You know, the guys really respect Steve, so there's a lot of great turnout in terms of players that you see in the champions list that they have is really an eclectic mix of veterans that you look at and go, man, I really like his swing. I can't believe this guy won. There's all kinds of things that go along with it, but I think it'll be an interesting, especially the first year. The first year is kind of a fleshing out. Let's see what we got. Let's see how this works. What can we do better? What can we change? What do we have to work on? So AmFam at TPC Wisconsin, June 6th through the 8th, I think it's going to be really good. Also, it's the same. You know, the U.S. Women's Open at Erin Hills presented by Ally, May 29th through June 1st. Then up at Century World, they have an AJGA Juniors event that's going to be taking place in that similar time frame. And then later in the summer, for everybody local, the really cool thing is going to be the Wisconsin State Amateur presented by West Bend. That's going to be up at Lido at Sand Valley, and that's just going to be off the charts. If you can win an AM, that's an incredible accomplishment. If you can win the AM at Lido, that's off the charts good, because Lido is a golf course that existed in the early 1900s. It was decimated due to World War I, and then after that, the plans kind of sat around for a number of years, and then Mike Kaiser and his kids up at Sand Valley brought it back. And like I said, it's going to be an exceptional summer of golf, both nationally when you take a look at all the majors, but also locally when you look at what's going on with AmFam, what's going on with Erin Hills and the U.S. Women's Open, what's going on with Century World and the junior event that they're going to be having, what's going on with the WSGA and what they're going to have in regards to having the state AM at Lido. It's just a really good summer of golf here in the state of Wisconsin, and we're all very fortunate to be a part of it.
Chuck, can't thank you enough for jumping on our program this morning. Have yourself a great rest of this Mother's Day Sunday, and we look forward to listening to you next week, Saturday, 8 a.m. with the guy over there behind the glass, the golf expert, the pipe bomb, Jeff Orlowski.
I appreciate you guys taking the time. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. Continue to do a great job here at Wisconsin Sports Sunday, and I got to click off only because I've got Jordan Spieth on the other line. But you guys have a great day.
Hang up on him, Chuck. Hang up on him.
That's Chuck Garbedian. You hear him each and every Saturday on The Game doing the award-winning Garbedian on golf, who was joining us on the NicoletLaw.com talking text line. Let's get to a break. We'll get to what's trending on the other side, but taking us to break once again, a little Mr. T with Happy Mother's Day. Jeff, hit it. Wisconsin Sports Sunday.
Treat her right. Treat your mother right. Treat her right. Treat her right.
Mother, there is no other like mother. So treat her right. Mother, I always love her. My mother. So treat her right. Treat her right.
As a fellow military veteran, I relied on my team to get through very difficult missions. We had each other's back and supported our teammates through thick and thin. If you find yourself struggling to make it another day or know someone who is, reach out. Support is at reachoutwis.org.
Paid for by Advancing a Healthier Wisconsin Endowment with support by the Medical College of Wisconsin, the War Memorial Center, and reachoutwis.org.
I can see the breath inside my house. This is how horror movies start.
First, the cold seeps in. Next thing you know, you're spooning your cat for warmth.
I tried it. He bit me.
Jason, come on, man. You need a new furnace. Don't you know that Capital is giving away the furnace when you get a new AC?
Giving as in free?
Yeah, but call Capital before this turns into the horror version of Frozen. Call Capital today and get a free furnace with a new AC.
Old-fashioned service, you can't go wrong. Call CapitalCares.com.
KB here. Seems like the cost of everything has been skyrocketing lately, and a lot of things I can't control. But insurance is something I can take a look at, and that's why I have my insurance through Tom Goman at G2 Insurance. He put me with West Bend. They're local, so when that final bill comes for the California wildfires, I won't be paying for it. Now, granted, I've seen increases like everybody else, but now I have a local agent and a local company to guide me through the claims. If you need help with your insurance, call Tom and his team or go to G2INS.com. They're your friend in insurance.
Hey, it's Brian Butch for Window Nation, and right now it's the semi-annual sale, and you can save 60% off a house full of windows. For 2 years, you won't have to worry about a down payment, interest, or monthly payment. That's right. Pay nothing until 2027. Get a free entry door when you buy a house full of windows. That's the difference with Window Nation. Window Nation was recently ranked highest on Forbes' list of best window installation companies. So you can trust Window Nation for high-quality, affordable windows. Give them a call at 866-90NATION or visit windownation.com for the semi-annual window sale.
BetOnline is your #1 source for all your sports betting action. With baseball in full swing and in the home stretch for basketball and hockey playoffs, BetOnline has all the latest odds, news, and scores, even live in-game betting while the games are being played. And in between games, head over to the BetOnline Casino with all the top Vegas-style games, including poker and live casino. BetOnline, the game starts here.
This week, Skipper Bud's Boaters Tailgate Party is on. Score home run deals on new and used boats, pontoons, runabouts, and more from top brands like Sea Ray, Barletta, Mastercraft, and Starcraft. Make this summer one to remember with family fun on the water, fishing, tubing, or just cruise in style. Don't miss the pro shop loaded with tubes, skis, vests, safety gear, and more. Hurry in. Skipper Bud's Tailgate Party ends this week, just off I-94 and Highway T in Pewaukee. Visit skipperbuds.com.
Home means something different to everyone. But with Rocket Mortgage, home can mean even more. It can mean a college education, taming your high-interest debt, even a renovation. We've made it easier than ever to use your home equity. That home you worked so hard for, now it can work hard for you. Call 800-4ROCKET or visit rocket.com to find out more.
Rocket Mortgage, LLC, licensed in all 50 states. NMLSconsumeraccess.org, number 3030.
Huge news. Right now at Wendy's, you can get a Son of Baconator for just $3. I don't think you understand this situation. The Son of Baconator is only $3 for a limited time. You know, smoked bacon, rich melted cheese. That Son of Baconator is only $3. Thank you to whoever wished upon that star. For bacon that just won't quit, gotta be Wendy's.
U.S. price and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Alaska and Hawaii, not valid on a combo or on third-party delivery platform.
All about the presets.
That is the best new feature. It's like a car radio right on the app. There's a list of what's trending. There's all the podcasts. I love it.
Get in on what everyone's talking about and get the new and improved free iHeartRadio app today.
iHeartRadio.
Rapid radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. A great alternative to a mobile phone for your kids. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com and you'll get 60% off, free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off.
Come on, push in with trending. They talking about me. They talking about me. They talking about me. Come again.
All right, welcome in. It's Wisconsin Sports Sunday here on The Game as we get into what's trending here this week in the world of sports. There was something, Professor, that really disappointed me this week because it's about
just the one thing.
Just the one thing,
Okay.
right?
I don't buy that.
Yeah, thank you so much. It has to do, in my mind, with the ability to make history. And so what we learned this week is that Sovereignty, who won the Kentucky Derby, is backing out of the Preakness to prepare for the Belmont. And I'm thinking, you have put yourself in one of the most unique and storied situations in all of sports, and you're not taking advantage of it. I'm a little flabbergasted by that, because we know, as we talked about when Sovereignty won the Kentucky Derby, what this means then when your racing days are done, and what that then means for the owner when said horse is out in the pasture doing his thing and making the owner money based on what will, the lineage will be in years to come.
Mm-hmm.
If you have the opportunity to go for the Triple Crown, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? I have a hard time believing it's going to affect the money line in years to come,
right?
What we were just discussing.
Right. I don't know. To me, it's not to go back to the Jordan Spieth argument, but it's had Jordan actually, this is hypothetically, Jordan wins his third of the four at the Masters, and then says, you know what? No, I'm going to take the PGA off. That's it doesn't make any sense. And I'm with you. And I'm wondering, is it the specialty now? Is it the length that they're considering? That they look at that and they think to themselves, because now, I mean, when you think about it's hard. You think about athletics, there's more specialty than there ever was.
OMG, if horse racing is becoming specialized.
That's what I'm saying. Come on, it has to be.
There is really no other excuse, because we're getting ready for the Belmont, which is a bit longer. It's the longest of the three races, if my horse racing knowledge doesn't escape me, which is very minimal. I'm going to tell you that. But
they go around in a circle.
A lot of left turns. Lot of left turns. However, it just, Jeffrey, again, to have the ability to make history. When we think about the lineage this year, we talked about the fact that all of those horses were linked in one form, or another, to Secretariat. To think you could be that in the next 20 years and to blow that opportunity is just, I don't know. I don't agree with it, maybe, as you can tell.
Well, I'm all for this, but that's because I'm a big NBA fan.
So
Lord, I definitely think that these horses should start load managing themselves. You don't want the greedy owners to just sit there and use these horses. They want you to race.
What was that?
They want you to do more than one race a month. Come on. It's a horse. So, I'm all for this. Sovereignty. He wants to get to the fun times. He doesn't want to sit there and have to do all the work before he starts enjoying himself in his post-racing career. I don't fault him on that. Go have yourself a good time.
Load management and thoroughbred racing. Only Pipe Bomb would find that way to get that into the discussion. The other thing this week, and we'll get into some Brewer talk in the next hour with Dave Gasper. What has floored me, and we talked about this before we came on the air a little bit, Professor, is the fact that you've got now Tampa Bay having to play at the Yankees minor league facility because of the hurricane last year and what it did to the dome. But I keep looking at that minor league facility going, this is better than what you were playing in. And the fact that the venue's a touch smaller, it almost looks like it's an energetic crowd as opposed to just specks splattered all the way through the dome.
Yeah, I mean, it's Miami should consider it. Not that they don't have a giant stadium that they need to pay off and figure out a way to use. But I always laugh when I watch a Miami Marlin game and I look at that and I think to myself, what a great way to have a cheap weekend. Find your best flight, cheapest flight down to Miami. Find a place to stay. And then work the ushers to get up in those first three rows behind home plate because they're never full.
Right.
And to your point, it's the same thing at Tropicana Field when the Rays are playing there. There's a lesson there that all of these stadiums that are going up don't necessarily have to be these monoliths of baseball. They can be a little bit smaller. They can be a little bit better. It's just, I think one of the versions that I saw of this is years ago, of what Tampa Bay wanted to do, it was a smaller stadium. It was like a 35,000 seat stadium, but that way it was going to be downtown and it was going to draw people in. But there's this idea that, if it's not, 45, 50,000 people, it's not going to work. And it's newer stadiums, not the classic older stadiums, Wrigley, Fenway, stuff like that.
Well, but even look at the Wrigleys and the Fenways of the world, Jeff. They're not those 70,000 seat, monstrosities. there's an intimacy to both of those stadiums that give it its character. Now, granted, that character comes through history, but again, they're just not these huge cathedrals necessarily that seat 70,000 people.
Yeah, there's, bad teams that sell their history because they don't have anything else to sell you. The way that these new stadiums should be built, because there was an era there where foul territory, there was almost as much foul territory as there was field to play.
That's true.
So, what you want to do, for me, the best stadiums are always the ones where there is as little foul territory as possible, because then the fans feel like they're right on top of the action. They get closer, even if you're in the 400 level, you're closer because, so they need to start doing more stadiums like that. But I think these teams are getting realistic, too. You look at Oakland, they didn't draw nobody. And then all of a sudden in their last year in Oakland, the last couple games, the fans came back. For what? You haven't been there in 10 years. What are you coming back now? Just to shower the guy with money on his way out of your city? It doesn't make too much sense to me, but what do I know?
What do you know? I know. You know a lot. Let's get to a break as we make our way to the top of the hour. When we get to hour number 2, we've got some Admirals hockey to get to as they've got a decisive Game 5 coming up later this afternoon. We'll talk Marquette, Wisconsin. Dave Gasper will join us. We'll break into the Brewers, which has been a rough road trip, and Mr. T telling us what it is to celebrate Mother's Day will get us into break. It's Wisconsin Sports Sunday here on The Game.
Treat her right. M is for the moan and the miserable groan from the pain that you felt when I was born. O is for the oven with its burning heat, where she stood making sure I had something to eat.
Kessler's has diamond pendants for Mother's Day.
Diamond pendants for only $148.
Mother's Day celebrates motherhood.
And it's always appropriate to give a Mother's Day gift to a mom.
Diamond pendants for only $148.
Your mother is a mother.
Your wife may be a mother.
Your girlfriend may be a mother.
Your sister may be a mother.
Your grandmother's certainly a mother.
You might even have a coworker who is a mother.
Motherhood needs to be celebrated.
Always.
You heard the part about the $148, right?
Giving a diamond pendant to a mom who wasn't expecting it is one of the greatest joys you'll ever experience.
The surprise on their face when you say Happy Mother's Day is worth 10 times the price you paid.
They'll remember that gift forever.
And you will, too.
Welcome to Kessler's, where you can buy a diamond Mother's Day pendant for just $148.
Welcome to Kessler's.
For the location of the Kessler's nearest you, visit KesslersDiamonds.com.
When Flawless Flooring installs luxury vinyl plank, hardwood, modern laminate, or carpeting, I personally guarantee your satisfaction with every step from shopping through installation. I'm Flawless Flooring's president, Dave Brownsdorf, and I approve this message. Sensory underload, Flawless Flooring, FlawlessFlooringLLC.com.
Water running back to your foundation due to settling concrete can lead to extremely expensive foundation repairs, even mold and bacteria in your home. MudTech
262-337-0934.
Call MudTech for a free estimate today.
A lot of law firms claim to be experts at handling injury cases that involve large trucks. But handling one trucking case does not make you an expert on the subject. Experience matters in these cases. One local firm has handled 25 trucking cases which resulted in payments over $1 million each, and hundreds of others as well. Because Wisconsinites know who to call when it's a must-win scenario. They call Habish, Habish & Rotier. National reputation, hometown service.
I'm Art Flater of Central Office Systems. Any business can be brought to its knees by thieves and IT hackers.
Chris Rozecki here. The IT guy you've known since high school doesn't have the resources to protect your organization.
Central Office Systems is the small business IT company that understands cyber with resources to back up your network.
Does your team work outside the hours of 8 to 5? Does your IT company do the same without nickel and diming you? Central Office Systems. No nickeling, no diming.
You hear those injured ads? Cameras with good resolution working properly cut down on injuries. Cameras deter thieves. Cameras deter scammers. Cameras that work work.
With Central Office Systems Managed Network Support, a qualified technician grateful for the opportunity to solve your issue answers the phone within 1 minute.
Camera systems, network security, network support.
Have insurance? Will that satisfy your customers while your company's crucial business functions are zero for a week or two? Real Insurance is utilizing an IT service provider who secures your computers from ever going down.
CentralOfficeSystems.com.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. It's the Sleep Number Everything Smart Bed sale. Every smart bed and base are on sale during our Memorial Day event. Up to 50% off, plus free home delivery. Limited time. Exclusively to Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
Have you tried hands-free Skechers slip-ins yet? Because if you haven't, you're missing out on technology that changes how you think about shoes. First, these are not just regular slip-on shoes. They're not just a pair of loafers without laces. But what makes them different is the technology inside that lets you just step into them. There's a built-in hidden shoe horn that slides your foot in, so they look, feel, and wear just like a pair of shoes you're used to. Except you don't have to bend down, struggle to put them on, or touch them. Try them at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
Broadcasting from the all-new Iron Jock Studios, built by Reamer Remodel.
We're ready to roll, baby!
This is WRNW-FM Milwaukee, 97.3 The Game. Welcome to Wisconsin Sports Sunday. If it's happening here, these guys are talking about it. Who are you guys? Don Wachilis.
That's right.
The Professor Dan Underberg.
What if circumstances magnified one of them in size and strength?
And the Polish pipe bomb, Jeff Orlowski.
How's the headbanging coming?
Welcome to Wisconsin Sports Sunday.
Welcome in hour number 2 of Wisconsin Sports Sunday here on a Mother's Day. Don Wachilis along with the Polish pipe bomb, Jeff Orlowski, the Professor Dan Underberg, as we make our way through the final 60 minutes of our program. Coming up, we got to get into some Admirals hockey, as they have a decisive Game 5 coming up later this afternoon. Dave Gasper is going to join us at the bottom half of this hour to talk about the Brewers, who have been up and down and everywhere else in between here in the midst of a bit of a losing streak as they're on the road in Tampa. And then we'll close things out with the Book of Pipe Bomb. Before we get to all of that, our thanks to Waterstone Bank, established in 1921, offering a full suite of personal and business banking products. Come for the outstanding customer service. Stay for everything else. Bank easier at Waterstone Bank. See everything they have to offer at WSBOnline.com. And our thanks to Sewer Ninjas as well, dedicated to solving your home sewer issues with the latest no-dig sewer repair technology to minimize cost and disruption. They can repair your sewer lateral line with minimal intrusion, saving you thousands. When you need help, turn to the drain and sewer experts for Milwaukee and the surrounding communities. Find out more at sewerninjas.com. So we're going to bring in Pipe Bomb here because Jeff is doing all of the heavy work here at the station when it comes to Admirals hockey. He's got each and every game covered in between periods, pregame, postgame, you name it. And later this afternoon, sir, you're back behind the desk as the Admirals get ready for that decisive Game 5, trying to do the reverse sweep and advance as they try to get that elusive Calder Cup. What's been the difference with this Admirals team in the last couple of games as opposed to when this series started against Chicago?
Well, they're playing a lot better defense, and they're starting to get more pucks on net. You know, the Admirals were towards the bottom, if not at the bottom, in the AHL on for shots on goal during a game, and for them to sit there and win the division. And yes, it came down till real late in the season before they finally clinched that. But that says a lot about how good this team is, that they're able to sit there and continue to win games while getting the least amount of shots on net. Matt Murray has also played better. He's been a fantastic goalie. He was splitting time with Magnus Krona. Krona's got a little bit of an injury, so it's been nothing but the Matt Murray show through 4 games here. And I wouldn't say he necessarily struggled in the first 2 games in this series, but he wasn't exactly his normal sharp self either. The fact that, the home team has not won a game yet in this series is wild. And, for all you guys, if you crapped down your pants today and did not get a Mother's Day gift, Admirals at home, 4:00 face-off, UW Milwaukee Panther Arena. Your wife, girlfriend, all of the above will love it. So
how is Jeff not working for Hallmark? I don't know.
Yeah, you
I just don't know.
You buy one of the cowbells, you put a little flour in there, and it's all good. So
get her a nice ad sweater to wear. You know what I'm saying? Hey, but
would you mind buying the beer, hon?
So, but yeah, no, they played really well, and the thing that's crazy is that all year long, Nashville, the parent club of said Admirals, did not have a good season, shall we say. And so it was just a nonstop revolving door of these guys getting pillaged by Nashville, which is great for them. They get their feet wet up in the NHL, start showing Nashville what they can do and all the other teams as well. So we've seen a lot of guys come and go. So the stability of this year's Admirals team isn't really there because it's a revolving door, but they're playing better and it shows. They did the same thing last year against Texas. They sat there, dropped the first 2 games, and then went and did the reverse sweep to move on in a best-of-5 series. Hopefully the Admirals do the same thing today.
But there's something about hockey that is, when it comes to a deciding game, that's just better. Hockey has an intensity to that sport that, I just don't see it in the NBA. I don't see it, I don't see it in baseball. It's not quite the same. Hockey, when you have an opportunity to in this case, a game 5, especially on your own home ice, it's just a different experience than it would be, just anywhere else putting that together.
Yeah, it definitely does. And it's a different brand of hockey, because this isn't the regular season. So are you going to see as many fights and guys dropping the gloves? No, because no one wants to catch a penalty and put their team at a disadvantage being on the penalty kill. So it's smarter hockey. The passing is crisper. These guys, you can tell that they take it seriously. There's no load management in hockey. There's no days off. There's no going at 60%. Because if you try that crap, you're going to have your head taken off. And by all the rest of the guys that are going 100%. That's why it's so easy to like hockey, even though I just wish they scored a little bit more.
Jeff, Rockford had the play-in game series, before they went up against the Admirals. And we've talked about it in other playoff scenarios, having that week where you're engaged, I'll say, as far as playing goes, right? You've got the competitive thing working already heading into the series, where the Admirals had to wait to see who the winner was and then get themselves fired up and ready to go. Are we seeing a case right now where maybe Rockford is starting to curtail a little bit because of the extra play? And do you think that had anything to do with the fact that the Admirals got off to such a rough start because Rockford was, hitting on all cylinders in games 1 and 2?
I don't know. This is the chicken and the egg conversation when it comes to sports, rest versus rust. And so, whatever narrative you want to fit, you can, twist the facts to support that and go against the side you don't. So do I know? I don't. Do I hope that that's true and Rockford is going to come out today dog tired and all that kind of stuff? Absolutely. So, let's for the sake of today, yeah, let's say they're starting to feel those extra games in their legs there.
Dan, just before you jump in, I just want to let you know, since he said the word dog there, my wife just double dog dare you to walk in the house when you get home with a cowbell and a flower in
it. If I can find myself a cowbell, that's exactly.
Challenge accepted.
Challenge
accepted.
If anybody at the Admirals is listening right now, come by the station and give me a quick cowbell. Challenge accepted. Absolutely. Looking into this, so if you have assuming, hoping that the Admirals win and take that next game, who's next on the docket, or who do you want them to see? If you could choose who their next opponent would be, who would that be?
Well, it's either going to be Texas or Grand Rapids. And I apologize. I don't know what that series is at right now. But yeah, so you're either going down to Cedar Park, Texas, or Grand Rapids. You know, that's a tough one. The Admirals eliminated Texas last year, so you know that would obviously Texas would have the revenge thing going on, and the Admirals and Grand Rapids hate each other as well. So you know that's why I like these playoffs, because the first 2 rounds, 3, if you're you know like the Rockford frozen bacon and you weren't good enough during the regular season, you know to advance to the semifinals here, you know. You're playing teams you hate. The animosity's already there. The bad blood is there. You've already played each other, 15 times during the regular season. That's what I like, because there's juice about it. We talked about this with the Brewers schedule and how they have 800 games in a row against the stupid American League. For me, there's no juice, but you don't have that when it comes to AHL playoffs. You know, the first rounds are always against your hated enemies. So, you know, that's a long way of saying I don't care who they face. I hate both teams.
All right. So, again, Admirals decisive Game 5 at UWM Panther Arena, downtown, late afternoon, a 4:00 drop of the puck to see if they can advance as they make their way, hopefully, to a chance at a Calder Cup, because we're rooting for this team. And Pipe Bomb over there will have it on Fox 920 again, starting this afternoon with the puck dropping at 4 p.m. Let's pivot a little bit here and talk some college sports before we get to the bottom of the hour and bring in David Gasper and talk some Milwaukee Brewers here. But Marquette got an interesting signing, and Marquette to me again is fascinating, Daniel, in the fact that what we continue to see from Shaka Smart is the fact that it's a bit of an old school approach in building the roster. They've landed Ethan Johnston, the 6'6" wing out of Queens, New York, kind of fitting what is the dynamic right now of the Golden Eagles, that 6'6", 6'7" wing, very athletic, plays well off the balls, got the jump shot, the whole 9 yards. But again, we're looking at a Marquette team that has kind of, at least now, balked against the transfer portal and continues to build in what I'll call an old school fashion.
Yeah, you wonder how this resonates with guys that are coming out of high school now, knowing that you stand a better chance going to a program like Marquette of not losing your position suddenly. You're in the development process. You're getting bigger, getting stronger. You're getting better at your game. You're showing a little bit of what you can do on the court, depending upon your skill level at the time. And then just knowing that you're going to have that opportunity to expand that into your junior season and not worry about if that's going to be lost. I think that's got to resonate with some guys and maybe kind of be a counterbalance to the idea of how much money can you make, NIL deal, and what's going to happen with the house. The house result and all of that. So if that's the case, where you look at who Marquette is bringing onto the team right now, you hope that's kind of a reference point to maturity, you know, to the type of person that they're bringing into the program. But when I look at recruiting classes and how they're ranked and things, now I want to start to see, you know, kind of odds of sticking around. What are the odds that these guys are going to be here for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years?
And the thing right now, you know, we talked about in the first hour how it's come full circle as far as the NFL goes, right? There's this prominence once again on the running game, because as we talked about, the secondary has gotten lighter and faster and all of that. When will we see that same turnaround occur in college athletics, where you get a Shaka Smart who's recruiting heavily out of high school, bringing guys in, developing them the way he has so far with Marquette and the Golden Eagles, where guys in high school are saying, yeah, because I'm going to get my chance, as opposed to, as you just said, you go to some of these schools like a Kansas, like, let's keep it right there since we got this young man out of Queens. Let's keep it right there in New York with St. John's, who has basically come out and said, we're not recruiting out of high school. Why would I do that? I'm going to go grab, you know, whatever out of the transfer portal. That I think the potential lies for a Shaka Smart to grab some very, very talented individuals right out of high school because they know they'll be given a fair opportunity based on what Shaka Smart has shown in his tenure at Marquette.
Well, to kind of answer that question, I think you hear this coach talk a lot of time. We're not recruiting every guy. We're recruiting Marquette guys. We're recruiting Badger guys. We're trying to fit them within our culture. And then some of these programs have cultures. We're going to take the best guys, regardless of where they're from. Others are trying to develop. I think obviously that's what Shaka Smart is trying to do. He's trying to develop that culture through there. I think that the great variable to what you're talking about is always going to be the actual athlete. And you hope you're getting the right guy to come in. Now what Shaka Smart is doing is different, right? Because you're still going back to that place of 17, 18 years old, recruiting for a couple of years, trying to land them and bring that in. And that individual can change for a while. Whereas you look at what Wisconsin's doing right now, you bring somebody in for a year. Okay. And you want to make sure that they're going to survive and thrive and be a part of the culture for 1 year. Shaka's asking them to come in and be a part of building that culture for 3 to 4 to 5 years. To find the right guy that's willing to do that and willing to listen. A part of that is they see that their game can develop. They're not quite ready for the NBA. Number two, they see Marquette as being that one of those rare places, upper echelon, where you can still play competitive basketball in a great conference. And so, again, finding the right person, but someone's going to walk in front of somebody someday and say, I've got, $1.5 million for you to come over here. It's going to be a hard way to say no to that.
Yeah. And it's going to be interesting because Shaka Smart, outwardly looking in, has done a magnificent job of maintaining those that he has recruited. So continually recruiting his team to stay intact. There could come a time, as you just said, where all of a sudden you lose 2 or 3 guys. What does that do to the system, as I'll phrase it? And how does that then change your approach? Yeah. Because now instead of going out and filling it, let's say, with 2 or 3 upcoming high school graduates, knowing however the roster is comprised, I may have to plug and play and then go into the recruiting portal,
right?
To go into the transfer portal. And then what that does from how you've approached it in the past may absolutely change. But right now, Shaka Smart has been able to recruit and maintain. And as long as he's been able to do that, the transfer portal has not necessarily been something he's had to dive into.
Shaka has been fortunate, and I mean this in all the best ways, but if you look at a guy like Cam Jones, and I mean this in the best ways, but hypothetically, I got to believe that Cam Jones was getting offers, right? And Cam Jones chose to stay, right? Kind of that pillar of your program for that year, I assume had opportunities to go elsewhere and chose to stay, chose to be in a place where he was happy and move forward with his basketball career. You can't always count on that, I guess, is where I'm going. It's, as much as you want to say that people are going to stay on that I'll call it the Cam Jones track. It's the reality is that at some point someone's going to look over. There's going to be a Duke. There's going to be a North Carolina and go, well, wait a minute. We've got a Tennessee that's going to look at that and say, but we've got a ton of money right here. Are you sure you want to turn that down? It really is how, to a degree, how Wisconsin lost Chucky Hepburn. I don't know that Chucky Hepburn was miserable.
No,
but the money was too good not to go to Louisville.
And his dad said that. His dad said it was just too much to turn down. It had nothing to do with Coach Gard, had nothing to do with Wisconsin. He loved his time there. But when people are offering you 6, if not 7 figures in this day and age, that is difficult to walk away from. You have to be in almost utopia, to turn away from a 6 or 7 figure type salary for 1 year of playing college basketball when the Red Solo Cup is probably still costing you $2. I mean, your profit margin there is pretty good. Wisconsin, $2. What's wrong with a $2 Red Solo Cup? What is it? Inflation now? What are they charging? $5-6 now?
Probably 5.
All right. When you're making 7 figures, what's $5? You're all right. The Badgers obviously went into the transfer portal on the basketball side and picked up a couple of players. 3 2 of which are international.
Mhm.
And I think, again, that pipeline for the Badgers is going to be something to keep an eye on, because I think some of the players that they're bringing in on the international side of things fit a lot of the style, the way Greg Gard likes to play basketball. So it'll be interesting to see. There was one for me, especially the young man they got, the wing player, out of Virginia, Andrew Rode. Again, coming out of that Tony Bennett system and knowing how Bennett coached and how he recruited, I think that's another instance where we could have a John Tanji-like situation of a plug and play, and it could pay some massive dividends for the Badgers.
Yeah, and you assume that it's going to be a good culture shift for everybody involved. Tony Bennett's program was not light on work.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Absolutely.
Focused on defense. So I think Greg Gard probably feels good at the very least that Andrew Rode is coming from a program that focused on those things and that can allow him to develop offensively and be the player that he wants to be in this year. So there are times when it just feels like a natural fit beyond, the history that these two programs have with the Bennett family and Wisconsin. So yeah, you hope that's the case. But again, you look at culture and what Greg Gard has been able to do since this era of NIL is just been able to find guys that fit.
Yes.
Even if it's just for a year, you find guys that fit. So, and I liked what you said about the idea of looking internationally, because I think that's going to be, if it doesn't feel like to you that Wisconsin now is looking international, like that might be the place we tap, because I think you're spot on. It's probably that style, the European style of basketball probably reflects what Wisconsin is trying to do. It makes more sense that way.
And the fact that because we've moved in, and we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, because we've gotten into this whole NIL umbrella or structure or whatever kind of adjective I want to throw in there, there were those European players that we meaning colleges couldn't go after because they were already playing semi-pro ball. Now, it doesn't matter if they have an agent. It doesn't matter if they made some money playing semi-pro ball, even at the age of 17, 18, 19, because of the way NIL is currently structured. It doesn't hurt their eligibility. So I think we're going to see a lot of teams look at what Wisconsin is doing and mirror that in the coming years, considering if everything maintains the way it is right now. So the music in the background, bless Mr. T on this Mother's Day, is telling us we got to get to break. And on the other side of the break, we're going to talk some Brewer baseball with David Gasper. We'll do it next. Mr. T, tell us about mothers. This is Wisconsin Sports Sunday on The Game.
Put on a face and every worry that I caused when I stayed out late. The last letter R's that you taught me respect, and for the room up in heaven that I know she'll get.
They say seeing is believing. And when you check out what's waiting for you at American Place Casino, you'll definitely believe you'll love it. From thrilling gaming to top-notch service, we're changing the game. Come play all your favorites like blackjack, craps, roulette, and the latest slots. Catch a game at the sportsbook, enjoy great restaurants, bars, and more. If you're ready for excitement, exceptional service, and an experience you'll never forget, then we'll see you soon. American Place Casino. Change the game. Must be 21 years of age or older. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling and referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER.
When a crane collapsed during construction of a major league sports stadium, 3 workers lost their lives. Their widows called us. When maintenance workers were permanently injured by an industrial accident at a public utilities power plant, the 7 injured workers called us. When a factory exploded, injuring dozens of workers, 18 victims, including all 3 families of men who lost their lives, called us. Because Wisconsinites know who to call when it's a must-win scenario. They call Habish, and Rotier. National reputation, hometown service.
Watch PGA Tour champions, including tournament host Steve Stricker, at the American Family Insurance Championship. The tournament moves to its new home at TPC Wisconsin, Friday, June 6th through Sunday, June 8th, and features a new team competition. All proceeds support the Steve Stricker American Family Insurance Foundation and the American Family Children's Hospital. Get your tickets today at amfamchampionship.com. That's amfamchampionship.com.
ACI accredited NARI member, A+ BBB rating, dwelling contractor certified, fully insured and bonded.
Licensed in Wauwatosa, Milwaukee, and Wisconsin for 25 years, standing behind the concrete Wisconsin businesses and residents stand on. DornbrookConstruction.com.
This week, Skipper Bud's Boaters Tailgate Party is on. Score home run deals on new and used boats, pontoons, runabouts, and more from top brands like Sea Ray, Barletta, Mastercraft, and Starcraft. Make this summer one to remember with family fun on the water, fishing, tubing, or just cruise in style. Don't miss the Pro Shop, loaded with tubes, skis, vests, safety gear, and more. Hurry in. Skipper Bud's Tailgate Party ends this week, just off I-94 and Highway T in Pewaukee. Visit skipperbuds.com.
Every morning, we rise and shine, make breakfast, and brush away the night's rest. These routines help us start the day off right. Nature-Made vitamins are a simple step in that daily care regimen. Multivitamins with daily essentials, clinically studied probiotics for gut health support, magnesium to help relax the body. Nature-Made is made to care for you every day. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
The Fox 6 weather experts are presented by AdventKnows.com.
Sunny skies on Sunday with temperatures in the low 60s near the lakefront to the low 70s inland. Southeast to easterly wind will be about 5 to 10 miles an hour. Will stay mostly clear tonight with temperatures dropping into the upper 40s. I'm Fox 6 meteorologist Lisa Michaels.
This report is sponsored by Rapid Radios.
Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Business owners can now keep in touch with up to 200 staff members at one time. Go to rapidradios.com now for up to 60% off and free shipping.
iHeartRadio is the easy-to-use app for music and radio. Download the free iHeartRadio app today.
Put a glide in your stride and a dip in your hip and come on to the mothership. Loose boot, doing the bump. Hustle on over here.
Get on the mothership. Here we go. All right, welcome back in. It's Wisconsin.
I don't know how you find this music sometimes, but you have a gift.
Welcome back into Wisconsin Sports Sunday as we get set to talk some Brewer baseball here. We'll wait on Mr. David Gasper, who will be joining us shortly. And the one thing for certain, though, Professor, has been the fact that this has been one of the more uneven seasons that I can remember within the last, let's say, 5 or 6. It's just been this up and down roller coaster through the month of April and now heading into May, where I guess we've been spoiled. If I go back 20 plus years, this wouldn't be so bad, right? Because it was just, a train wreck by the time we got into May for way too many seasons. And I guess I'm at the point I'm starting to get spoiled because of the playoffs and the success this team has had, to watch them struggle a little bit early on, even knowing that there's a ton of baseball to be played.
I'm going to go recency bias and just say that, you're being really kind about how you're approaching this, and I get it. But for me, this team is not nearly as fun to watch as it was last year. It's just, it doesn't feel as dynamic. There was a lot of small ball, a lot of manufacturing runs, a lot of leveraging the speed that the team is blessed with. Granted, they had more pitching last year, which we didn't know. Even last year, we weren't quite sure what to expect with Woody's injury and all those things. But this year, it has been, it's been uneven. It's been disjointed. And then the other part is with the most recent games aside, when they've lost, when the Milwaukee Brewers have lost, they've left no doubt.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Some of those games have just been brutal. So, is there time to work it out? Yeah, but at the same time, I tend to be on the shorter end of what we're going to consider to be kind of that when we start making those judgments.
Yeah.
I think we're closer to having a quality sample size than we've had in the past. And right now I'm a little concerned, quite honestly, because even if the pitchers come back that we're anticipating, the Ashbys, the Woodies, all that, they still have to get back into major league form.
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe Dave can talk me off the ledge on this, but right now I am concerned.
Well, let's get you off the ledge and jump to the NicoletLaw.com talk and text line and bring in our guy, David Gasper. Dave, good morning, sir.
Good morning, boys. How you doing?
we're doing spectacular, but I think we're kind of teetering on the edge as we're a little concerned about how this Brewer team has progressed so far early on this season.
Yeah, it's been an up and down group, and they've been so inconsistent offensively. It definitely does cause some concern. The margin for error for this group, really, guys, is just so slim, and that I think is where they're causing a problem. Now, granted, they've had slim margins for error before with these teams. I mean, they had it last year. They've had it the last couple of years, really. But they've been able to find success. They've been able to thread that needle. And this year they haven't really been able to. And, whether you blame it on the loss of Willie Adames, some of it maybe on the offense you can put on not having Adames there. But some of it too with defense, with injuries, whatever it is, this team just has struggled out of the gate. Now, they haven't been as bad as, maybe frankly they could have been with all these injuries. I mean, it really could sink them like it has some other teams. The Brewers are still kind of hanging around 500, even with a couple of losses last couple days. But it definitely is a very tough spot for the Brewers to be in.
Go ahead, Jeffrey. Jump in here.
Yeah, Dave, let me be the first one to wish you a happy Mother's Day. I don't want to let that slip there. So happy Mom's Day, Dave. So it seems like this team is kind of inventing ways to lose here because they've done it in so many spectacularly different ways. We've seen the defense take a step back this year. We've seen a lot of these hitters, especially the ones not named Bryce Terang or Sal Frelick, take a step back offensively this year. Is there a single thing, a single move that could fix this team, or is it just these guys? The mental mistakes are still being made. Churio had an embarrassing error out in the field a couple days ago. What's going on here?
Yeah, I don't know if there's a single move to be made by this front office. I mean, they're going to need improvement across the diamond from a lot of guys. They need improvement from Joey Ortiz. They need improvement at third base. Mikhail Durbin has been solid. He's been all right, but he hasn't really moved the needle that much. All he's done is clear the bar of being better than Oliver Dunn and Vinny Capra, which I'm sorry to say was not that high of a bar to clear for him, but you need more from those guys. You needed more from Garrett Mitchell when he was healthy. Isaac Collins actually is doing pretty well, all things considered. But really, this whole group, William Contreras needs to be better, but it's hard for him to be better because he's got a broken finger on his left hand that's clearly impacting the way that he swings the bat. So, how much can you really expect of him? You need Yelich to be better. And he's kind of struggled a little bit here out of the gate as well. So you need these guys to start hitting because, as you mentioned, Pipe, there's only Terang and Frelick, and I think you can put Hoskins in that group as well. That has really been performing pretty well and up to expectations so far this year.
How surprised were you when you got up this morning and realized that the Brewers sent Toby down and are bringing Elvis back in the building now?
Yeah, I was a little surprised, but also not entirely because, Tobias Myers, he didn't have the greatest start yesterday. Had a couple of walks. And really, he's kind of been teetering on that edge there. Pat Murphy had to pull him from a start after 2 innings the other day because he was walking too many guys. And, now that you have a bunch of starters coming back, Woodruff coming back, Savali's on rehab. You've got Quinn Priester in the mix now. You've got kind of a pretty full group. Chad Patrick has entrenched himself. It is going to be a competitive group for that starting rotation, especially once you do add Woodruff and Savali back into the mix. Ashby and Hall are on rehab assignments as well. So you got to be pitching pretty darn good to keep your spot in the top 5 of this rotation. Chad Patrick has been doing it. Tobias Myers has not consistently been able to do it since returning from the injured list. So I'm not entirely surprised that he gets sent down to work on things. He had a fantastic rookie year last year. It was always going to be hard for him to keep up with those numbers, but keep up with that pace in his second year. And he's struggled so far to do so, especially with command. And you very competitive in that rotation pretty soon, and Tobias Myers has not done enough to earn his.
Dave, has Pat Murphy kind of painted himself in a corner here? I do like the fact that he expects his guys to play the Brewers' way.
I had the same question, Jeff.
Yeah. Or that there will be consequences. We saw him bench Frelick in Durbin. We saw him pull Toby out of a start early. So we've seen, he's had meetings. He's been thrown out of games. He's tried basically everything in the manager's playbook to, light this team up and put a fire under their butts. But the only person that's not being held, it seems, in my four eyes, to account on anything is Christian Yelich. Again, today he's right back in the 3-hole, and all he does is a soft little grounder to first or second base every at bat. How come Yelly is the one guy who's untouchable when we are many, many, many seasons away removed from his MVP form?
Yeah, that's certainly the tough part and a tough question for the Brewers about what's going on with Yelich. Now, granted, coming back from back surgery and trying to get back into things. He looked fantastic last season. He was an all-star again. He was leading the league in batting average before the back flared up, and he ended up having to get surgery again. And he hasn't quite been able to find that stretch, that level of success yet again. It's been tougher for him to find it. And yeah, it certainly is causing a problem because of what the Brewers are paying him and what they need out of this lineup. Yelich is the one who can bring that level of production that they need, and he hasn't been able to do it. It's been a lot of, the weak ground balls, the strikeouts, whatever it is. He hasn't been able to find that groove at the plate. And it certainly is causing problems in this offense because they need him to be that guy once again. And with Willie Adames gone, they need him to be that guy now more than ever.
We're talking with David Gasper on the NicoletLaw.com talking text line. David, the professor said it as we were bringing you on the air, and we were talking about, or I should say he was talking about, we're starting to get a bit of a sample size now of what this Brewer team is. And I look at the schedule and I kept thinking, okay, after the series with the Cubs, you had the Astros, the Rays, the Guardians, the Twins, the Orioles. You have some series here, throw in the Pirates, what I'll call our get healthy series type things to get you a few games over 500 to get the ball rolling, so to speak. And then we've seen them just absolutely fall over themselves in Tampa Bay. Is this, in your mind, the way this season is going to play out, where you get to 500, a game or two above, and then suddenly the wheels fall off again, then you got to battle your way to get back to 500? It just seems like that's the sample size that we're getting right now from this team.
Yeah, it certainly could be. That's what we've seen so far, but that doesn't mean things can't change. Things can't turn around, and they can get on a hot stretch and they can get going. It's still possible. There's still so much season left. We've seen this happen before to other teams where, first 6 weeks of the season, they're kind of up and down. They're not all that great. And then they end up getting hot, going on a run and making a deep run in the playoffs. We saw it with the Washington Nationals in 2019. We saw it with the New York Mets last year. So it's possible for them to get on a hot run, get themselves 5 games over 500, then 10 games, and then just kind of keep things moving from there. We've seen that happen to other teams before. It's certainly possible with the Brewers. But they're going to need their offense to figure some things out and really get going. And, I don't know what it's going to take. If it's going to take another Willie Adames-like trade in the middle of May to bring in a spark to the offense. I don't know if that's going to be in the cards or if it has to be. But right now the offense is not doing enough to get it done. And if they're going to go on that kind of run, they're going to need a bunch of guys in this lineup to get hot very quickly.
The question I have is, we keep talking about Contreras' finger. At what point do we sit him and kind of force the issue and allow this to heal?
Yeah, that's the question I was kind of wondering all week as soon as Pat Murphy told us that he had the finger that was bothering him. And when it's impacting the way that he's hitting, I think that's a serious concern because you need Contreras to be a big part of your lineup. And if he's not able to hit the way that you are expecting him to because of an injury, the common sense would say to, okay, put him on the IL and let it heal. But I think also the problem is how long is it going to take to heal? Is this going to be a 3-4 week kind of thing, or a 6 week kind of thing, or is this going to be he needs surgery several months kind of thing? Because as a catcher, with that being the middle finger on his glove hand, as soon as he gets back to catching 100-mile-an-hour fastballs, that thing's just going to keep on, taking a beating. So for him, it seems they're going the route of just managing the pain as best they can, and then maybe addressing it in the off season. But it is going to be a long season then for William Contreras to be battling through that finger injury, because I don't see how this is going to get better while he plays through it. I think at some point they really should, consider putting him on the IL. But I think what may be weighing against them is how long he would have to be on the shelf, because if it's a several-month ordeal that he's going to be gone, you don't have Jefferson Caro ready quite yet. You'd be rolling with Eric Haas and Jorge Alfaro, and all due respect to Jorge Alfaro, he's not going to be improving your offense that much either at a time where you really need to get more offense on this team. So it's a very tough situation for Contreras and the Brewers to be in. I know he wants to play. He's going to be pushing to play. And, but if it keeps on causing him to struggle offensively, at some point the Brewers got to be the adults in the room and say, hey, we need to put you on the shelf because this is negatively impacting the team.
Yeah. Were you surprised when you saw the lineup for today and see that Sal Frelick is leading off instead of Bryce Terang?
Not entirely surprised by that. I mean, Pat Murphy has been known to kind of shake up the lineup every now and then. So that's not entirely out of the realm of a possibility for him. So, putting Frelick up there, Frelick's been solid. So, just something to shake things up. I think Murph is trying anything he can to get this group going, and maybe that's just going to involve putting Frelick at the leadoff spot.
I'm a big fan of when you joined Tim Allen on the post-game show. I learn a lot more from those shows than from that other guy that's with Tim a lot. If I'm marking down my calendar, when are you going to be together with Tim again?
Well, I'm producing the post-game show today.
Whoa!
So,
all right.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to learn something today.
I believe you'll hear me and Timmy very soon.
That'll work. So, Dave, thanks so much for jumping on board and talking some Brewers with us. Have yourself a great afternoon. Hopefully, you'll be joining the franchise and talking about a win, and wish your moms a happy Mother's Day for us.
I accidentally twitched and cut him off. Sorry, Dave.
Way to go, Jeffrey.
Yeah,
all
that's
right.
an error on the producer here.
So what you would have heard is, thanks, guys. Enjoyed my time on the show, and I'll talk to you later after the Brewer game, as I'll be doing the post game with the franchise Tim Allen. All right, Mr. T takes us to break one last time here on a Wisconsin Sports Sunday. Happy Mother's Day to everybody. We're back with the Book of Pipe Bomb right after this.
So treat her right. Mother, I always love her. My mother. So treat her right. Treat her right.
Are record energy costs putting a squeeze on your fixed or limited incomes? With limited incomes not keeping up with the lingering effects of inflation, you might be one of tens of thousands of Wisconsin residents who are struggling to survive in the blistering heat of summer or the bitter cold of winter. While you haven't asked for it, the Keep Wisconsin Warm Cool Fund and your local energy assistance providers are here to help. No Wisconsin resident should ever have to face the challenge of living without heat or power or face homelessness. For a hand up, apply today and call 1-800-506-5596. That's 800-506-5596. Or visit www.kwwf.org.
Sponsored by the Keep Wisconsin Warm Cool Fund.
Leo Schofield spent decades in prison for a crime Jeremy Scott later confessed to. Season 2 of the hit podcast Bone Valley investigates how Jeremy's violent past unfolded and who else may have suffered his wrath.
This is a case that should never happen. I told him you got it wrong, you got the wrong man.
Listen to Bone Valley on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Open your free iHeart app and search Bone Valley.
It's Window Nation's semi-annual sale this month. That means 60% off a whole home of windows, plus no money down, no interest, and no monthly payments till 2027. 866-90-NATION or online at windownation.com.
Does your business need new garage doors? At Geis, we partner with CHI Overhead Doors to install top quality materials engineered by industry leaders to ensure that each of our commercial door installs are long-lasting and hassle-free. Call us to get a quote and schedule your new CHI Overhead Doors commercial installation. 262-784-4250 or online at geisdoors.com.
Don't think twice. Go Geis.
For CHI Overhead Doors for your business.
This week, Skipper Bud's Boaters Tailgate Party is on. Score home run deals on new and used boats, pontoons, runabouts, and more from top brands like Sea Ray, Barletta, Mastercraft, and Starcraft. Make this summer one to remember with family fun on the water, fishing, tubing, or just cruise in style. Don't miss the Pro Shop, loaded with tubes, skis, vests, safety gear, and more. Hurry in, Skipper Bud's Tailgate Party ends this week, just off I-94 and Highway T in Pewaukee. Visit skipperbuds.com.
Huge news. Right now at Wendy's, you can get a Son of Baconator for just $3. I don't think you understand this situation. The Son of Baconator is only $3 for a limited time. You know, smoked bacon, rich melted cheese. That Son of Baconator is only $3. Thank you to whoever wished upon that star. For bacon that just won't quit, gotta be Wendy's.
U.S. price and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Alaska and Hawaii, not valid on a combo or in third-party delivery platform.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Worried about your battery and the heat? We get it. You don't want to get stranded somewhere with a car that feels like an oven. We've got you covered at AutoZone, America's #1 battery destination. Our free battery testing and charging service can help. And if you need a battery, we'll help you find a new one, no problem. Power through with free battery testing and charging at AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Restrictions apply.
Made for This Mountain exists to empower listeners to rise above their struggles and face the mountain in front of them. So during Mental Health Awareness Month, focus on your emotional well-being. Tune into the podcast and climb that mountain.
You will never be able to change or grow through the thing that you refuse to identify. The thing that you refuse to say, hey, this is my mountain. This is the struggle.
Listen to Made for This Mountain on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Open your free iHeart app and search Made for This Mountain.
Rapid radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Business owners can now keep in touch with up to 200 staff members at one time. Go to rapidradios.com now for up to 60% off and free shipping.
In a garden of freedom, don't you know that I'm loving you?
Welcome back in on a Wisconsin Sports Sunday, a Mother's Day edition. And with that, as we close out our fine program, we turn it over to the Polish Pipe Bomb for the Book of Pipe Bomb.
All right. Hello, America, worldwide, friends from all around the globe.
Here we go.
Mother's Day edition here in the Book of Pipe Bomb. Huge shout out to all you moms out there, especially the good ones. You do great work. You don't get enough recognition and credit that you deserve. Every time, I know that when I see the honeydew list is long, I curse her name, but it's understandable. And, I guess it helps make me a better person as well. Many benefits to Mother's Day. For me personally, I always find out what I'm getting for Father's Day on Mother's Day, because I know that everything that was on my wife's list that she didn't get will get wrapped and sent to me on Father's Day. So this is kind of like a sneak peek, a look ahead. Oh, I didn't know I needed a new cookie pan, but thank you. That's so very thoughtful. There's lots of good things today, but and then I'll go home and I'll be driving around the neighborhood. You see all the guys out there weeding and, just swearing under their breath. And it's all because we love you, moms out there. And we all know that you're doing the best job you can. And so, yeah, big salute to all the moms, including the single ones. And, like my wife has to work a 24-hour shift today. I feel terrible about that. But, then again, I'm happy for the peace and quiet and that I'm not out there in the garden. So it is what it is, but happy Mother's Day to all of you.
And we still can't figure out how you don't write for Hallmark. I just don't get it. I'm listening in the last segment when we were talking with Gasper.
Okay.
I'm going back to, we got into this whole show today talking about the release of the NFL schedule and, the optimism that comes with it, right? For
sure.
The vast majority of NFL teams. But as I continue to sit and look through various things as we made our way through the last 120 plus minutes, I'm getting this feeling like this is the year, as far as Wisconsin sports goes, that we're going to take a kick in the chops on every single team that we seemingly support. When I think back now, the Bucks obviously were dealt the card with Dame not being able to go with the Achilles, and so there's an early exit. Our fingers are so crossed this afternoon with the Milwaukee Admirals and hoping that everything that I'm about to say is completely wrong. But I just, knowing what's happening right now early on with the Brewers, there's still a ton of time left. I just am starting to get this sick feeling, Professor, like this is going to be one of those years where we're just going to have to suck it up and remember what it was like in our teens when we went through this on seemingly a monthly basis with any team that we supported in the Don Morton Badger era and the Brewers and the Packers. And it was just one of those that you constantly got kicked below the belt every time you thought you were about to make the turn and then reality hit. And I just have this sick feeling that that's where we're going.
Here's one from Friday. There's a melancholy in the air.
Wow.
That's throwing that out.
That's a big word.
Fans
that
over
is.
Over there, but
your wife must have taught you that word.
Yeah, that's not something I use. Yeah, she's using it more and more. But I feel the same way. It just kind of feels like this. We're not lucky enough to be Boston, where something's always good all the time. But it does. It feels like there's a little bit of weight to the air.
Yeah,
and especially, but going into the season with the Brewers, there was a lot of unknown due to the pitching, but you still felt like they were going to be competitive. And again, they're only 2 games behind, under 500. They're 4 behind the Cubs, and Dave Gasper is right. There's an opportunity for them to turn it around. But the 3 of us have been around the sun enough. It just has that feeling of, okay, we've been here before. This year just kind of feels like let's get to Summerfest and just continue.
And you're right. Speaking of which, since you brought up Summerfest, so the other day they announced like 30 headliners.
I knew none of them.
Thank you. Thank you. Back in the day, I used to be an 8, 9, 10 day kind of a guy when it was that 11-day run. And you'd look at the lineup and go, on this day, I'm going to make sure. On this day, I might have to, it might be 15 minutes here, 15 minutes here, 15 minutes here, because I want to see all of them. And they released those 30 bands, and I was like, who are these people?
Yeah, I'm starting to get more excited about the tribute bands now.
Yes,
I recognize the music.
I'm more excited about the guys who are playing and the women that play like the church festivals on a Sunday afternoon, and those guys that make that tour during southeastern Wisconsin on a weekly basis than I was looking at the Summerfest lineup. Thank you. That was a hard left turn.
Sitting there, you were ready.
I was ready for that one because I had just seen it this morning, and I was just like, "Who are these people? Like, am I getting that old that you throw these names out pipe bomb?" And I had no idea who they are.
Well, I didn't either. And welcome to my world because with my music that I like, I'm able maybe to go one day where there's like, yeah, these guys are okay.
Yeah.
You know, and so yeah, you get used to being unappreciated and your musical you know, genre of choice unappreciated. But that's why Friday and Saturday and Sunday of next week head to the rave for Metal Fest.
There you go. You know, Pipe Bomb will be right up front.
You know all those bands. I see you.
I know.
You won't wear it on camera during the show,
No.
but I know you've got a Bongzilla t-shirt and
which I bought on the street corner for $5 as someone was selling a post show the last time that they were in town. All right, it's time for us. Boy, on that one.
That's how we end Mother's Day.
We
on the
end
show.
Mother's Day with Bongzilla and their run next week at the rave for Metal Fest. Anyhow, happy Mother's Day once again to everybody. Thank you for joining us here for the last couple of hours. Don't forget, coming up today at 4:00, the Admirals make a strong play for advancing in the Calder Cup playoff scenario, and Jeff will have it on Fox 920, and the franchise and Dave Gasper will be here after the Brewer game for the post-game show. So hang around, enjoy the sunshine, and keep it right here on The Game. For the Polish Pipe Bomb, Jeff Orlowski, the Professor Dan Underberg, I'm Don Wachillis. We're back in 6 and 22.
Man, that was amazing. Even if you don't have a girlfriend, they just stole her from you.
I can see the breath inside my house. This is how horror movies start.
First, the cold seeps in. Next thing you know, you're spooning your cat for warmth.
I tried it. He bit me.